Sonic Boom Comic Issue 9. So the heroes go to fight Sigma's forces from the Sky Patrol, with Sonic taking a robot and stomping on another one. If they all beat them in one hit, that's not interesting. What am I gonna talk about? Certainly not anyone fighting robots to die in one hit, that's for sure. Because there's nothing interesting to say about that. I'd just be boringly describing what's happening on screen. It's out of character for Six to freak out about a bee robot because it looks like a bee when she fights buzz bombers all the time. Six tells the chimp and beaver to get back here because they're naturally running from the robots. What did they expect? The chimp's dialogue is annoying here. He wouldn't say exit stage right when he's in danger. At least them fleeing is more realistic than them trying to fight and failing and just hurting their fists or getting injured. And I can definitely compliment when there's no dialogue in the panels when they're just fighting robots like this, because that speeds up reading it. Then we see Sally and the others acting as navigators, warning various heroes about bad guys. Cream says that the Deadly Six are heading for the Sky Patrol's engines. And Roll tells people to go support the heroes that need it. Why is Eggman asking Wily if they're going with AC or DC power? Shouldn't he know as an engineer? Wily whispers to Eggman that he noted where the escape pods are, so they can go back to Lost Hex if the airship gets sank. Wily whispers that he plans on using the Master Engine of Sigma to conquer all realities. I'm just wondering why Nicole doesn't hear them. Whispering shouldn't matter when she's an AI who could have her hearing be as good as she wants to be. And it'd be obvious common sense to have her hearing as good as it can be in the room where Eggman is. Too bad they can't just put explosives on Eggman to keep him on their side, because he's an engineer, so we know how to remove them anyways. I like that I got to see Rotor shooting at a robot with a shooter he can operate with a lever again. That doesn't look nearly enough like a dragon. I don't know why I thought we'd care about this. We know none of them have any chance of being injured because Kids Comic. And everything dies in one hit. And even the Mecha Dragons die after one panel. And nothing actually creative and interesting is happening. So even though it's a big action scene, it's still got no appeal. Finally, we see Zeke kick Rotor, and the Zeti attack Antoine's team. Finally, it gets kinda interesting. It'd be better if all of the one-hit dying robots being attacked was constrained to one huge panel. Zavok uses the force field and then shoots Axel away. Well, that's impressive. Then he pounds the floor. Why would he cut away instead of just focusing on the Deadly Six fight? Nobody wants to see a page where Sigma wastes her time. Six wastes her time telling people she shouldn't think would be useful to come back and fight. And I can't help but find it at least interesting that Comedy Chimp says Six is as scary as the robots. I both feel sorry for her and find it satisfying that her loudness is lampshaded. Soul Mom hits Six away without having to look at her. Probably because she shouted right behind him like a moron. Six hopes one of the flying guys will save her. But instead a convenient Genesis portal opens up. The writer thought of something more logical and plausible, and then decided not to write it anyways. I bet the Genesis portals will inexplicably stop showing up right after Worlds Unite, even though their existence is because of the reboot wave. Which is another reason I can't take them seriously. They're such a meta concept. Six decides to do a cannonball into it because she's a person of action. I like that extra bit of character. I like that the arc focused on her being a daredevil. She falls onto the pavement in a human city. She wouldn't be disappointed that the humans aren't robots like X, if she specifically said in Sonic Boom that she hates machines. And it's even an obvious assumption because of her appearance. Why would someone be surprised Six can talk if she's already able to stand on two legs and wear clothes? And predictably, I'm taken right out of it because it cuts away instead of showing me who she's talking to, and focusing on one plot at a time. Who would want to see this instead? This is just as boring as the heroes in SEC fighting Badniks. Since the not Badniks are all defeated, X tells the other heroes to all fight the Deadly Six, so we get to see Bunny punch Xena in the face after she floats the machine error. Wait a minute, I just realized, why aren't the Zeti controlling the Sky Patrol itself? They can control machines with electricity in them, and the Sky Patrol counts, and they're all there at once with enhancing armor. But of course, they're on the Sky Patrol with them, so if they crashed it or even moved it around weirdly, they'd be putting themselves in just as much danger. But still, they're brainwashed to only care about working for Sigma. Sigma would totally make them willing to sacrifice themselves. Why wouldn't they do that to it right away? I guess he really values them that much, but he thinks that the heroes are the only people who are gonna threaten him. The Robot Masters and Reploids have human faces, so maybe the Zeti didn't control them because they assumed they were organic humans with armor on in the heat of the moment. They don't have time to think when they just got here and are already fighting. Sora gets shot at and punched by Rotor, except I don't see his fist actually hit him, so I don't care. I can't help but feel sorry for him, actually. They are just brainwashed, after all. It's not like in Lost World they left the Lost Hex to go bother Sonic. So that's the only reason they're here. Him being hit would have a chance of being more satisfying if Zora said something emo first that annoys people. Antoine blocks Zeke's staff with a sword. The sword is right above his head. Wouldn't being suddenly hit with the staff cause the blade to get sent towards Antoine? Fortunately, Mega Man's dog grabs Zeke's staff away like a dog playing fetch with a stick, so that was a good use of him being a dog. Emerald and Big punch Zalmam in the chest a lot, and I'm wondering why Zalmam's standing instead of being sent backwards or knocked over outright. At least the panel showing multiple hits against him for once, incorrectly. It was stupid of Knuckles to talk to the Zetti and thus risk getting attacked as he charged up to him. He was lucky he was able to punch him successfully after clearly telegraphing his attack. I'm glad it was lampshaded by him that Leaves being a shield is just weird. Too bad we don't get to see him punch that annoying purple guy a lot more. Instead it cuts away to Sonic's spin dash being effortlessly blocked by Zavic's arm, which is hard to believe because he's organic. And that's true in the game, but it was stupid there for the same reason. And he breathes a fireball at him like Bowser. Wow, he has a lot of powers. No wonder he's the leader. Sonic lures Zavik towards the Mega Men, who have their busters charged up and shoot at him. This sends him away because apparently, while being smacked up by a ball doesn't even send him backwards, being shot at does. Also, I guess these guys can try to kill a living being just fine. They have no reason to believe they'd survive this, and he shouldn't. So, the laws of robotics don't apply. At least Sonic has the excuse that he must have been holding back against an organic being, and so that's why Spin Dash did not go through him or send him away enough. Which it would if it was actually moving at Sonic speed. So I guess that's why it was so weak against him in the game. Wait, what? I thought Zavik was sent flying off the airship. It was unusually sweet that Xena held his hand and asked, "Still with us?" Wow. That's sweet. What, are they dating? And he holds his head in pain, showing actual consequences to being attacked. But I'm still confused as hell that he even survived. There's steam coming from him, but he doesn't look burned, so that's confusing. Finally, someone points out their glowing brainwash eyes. Axel says that their eyes make him think of the Sigma virus, and X agrees, and assumes he must be controlling them through their armor. I guess everyone else just assumed that's how their eyes always looked because they're not familiar with them, they just look like monsters. So glowing eyes would fit with that. Zero's an anti-hero by casually asking if they should put them out of their misery. I forget if that's in character for him or not, but I don't think it is. And X is moral enough to say that they're still living beings. And Zero should have known that. X looks like an idiot though by thinking that people being controlled will be able to surrender. What part of control does he not understand? Wait, did he act like this with the Mavericks too? I think I remember seeing that in the games and fucking hating it and wishing the melodramatic text boxes didn't exist. At least classic Mega Man doesn't waste your time with dialogue before boss fights with one-dimensional monsters. How could he be stupid enough to think he can talk a brainwashed person with no affection for him out of it? Zavik then says that the Zeti control, and this forces X to shoot Sonic while he's somehow still able to apologize. Huh? I have a question. What the hell took the Zeti so long? Nothing that the robots did around him proved that they are in fact robots and are not humans with armor on. So if they can control these robots, they should have thought to do so in the first place. What idiots! And somehow X is still able to say sorry and explain himself, even though obviously his mouth is part of his body. So it would be controlled to, if anything, force him to talk evilly. Well, this is like seeing the Iron Queen again, but at least the Iron Queen was smart enough to outright brainwash Nicole, so she couldn't say that she was being controlled and complain about it. That made actual sense compared to this. It would have made a lot more sense if the Zeti controlled Bunny first, because she's a cyborg. Proto Man has a helmet over his head. Maybe it would be a natural conclusion to come to that he's a robot. Wouldn't it have made more sense if he was the first one controlled? And then one of the heroes could blurt out something like, "Oh no, they can control robots." And that would naturally tell the Zeti, "Oh, we didn't know you were robots. Well, now we can control all of you." And surprisingly, the story ends there. At least Sonic's holding his arm in pain while there's steam, so there's some consequences to him being shot. It'd be impressive if he kept that injury for the rest of the arc. At least in this arc, the heroes weren't stupid enough to have Nicole around someone who they know can control her. And the heroes didn't know that Zeti could control machines. Well, one of them saw Xena float a metal thing above her, but that was it. That was only one person. It's not like all of the heroes immediately knew before the Zeti would show up that the Zeti could control robots and cyborgs. So no wonder they fought them, and they wouldn't have had a choice anyways. Still, if Bunny had a brain, she'd run like hell right now because she should be controlled too. I guess she's already being controlled. It makes the Zeti look like idiots that they didn't control Bunny immediately. What, did they think that her legs were naturally metallic? This story was by Ian Flynn, and was about the heroes all fighting Sigma's forces on the Sky Patrol. That's basically it. It was boring when they were fighting not badniks because they just died in one hit. That's not very interesting. We should have seen them all just get defeated in one giant panel, and immediately moved on to the Zeti fighting them. I'm glad the artist did a good job sometimes and actually showed us them getting hit. But that's faint praise, and it's still not as satisfying as it could be because I know they're just brainwashed. And it's not like they had annoying dialogue typical of the game before getting hit. They just have the personalities of generic bad guys here. I'm already used to that personality, so it's not as annoying. And what took them so long controlling the robots? Wasn't it immediately obvious of an idea that the Zeti should control everyone who's using technology? Shouldn't at least one of them have controlled the metal? Like, even if they thought they were organic? It was smart of them to try, but them taking so long counteracts that by making them look like idiots. They should have explained that the Zeti were arrogant, and so they thought they didn't need to control them right away. And so they were putting it off as a last resort. Even then, that'd still make them look stupid. At least the focus was on action. But it was always obvious none of the heroes would get injured. So there was no tension the whole time, and I was actually impressed that Sonic did get shot. And how did Zamek survive those shots anyways?